Dale Earnhardt is arguably the greatest driver in all of NASCAR history. With 76 career Cup Series wins and only one of 3 drivers to have 7 career Cup Series titles, it's easy to see why. With all of the success, his legacy would have not been the same had it not been for this one last accomplishment: winning the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. So let's get into it. We begin this long and treacherous journey to 1979, Dale Earnhardt's first attempt at the Daytona 500. Earnhardt was just another rookie in the field, but with car owner Rod Osterlund, the two would impress a lot that day.
There's Earnhardt, your leader, out of turn 4. 9 cars less than a second apart. Make that about 12. A good baker's dozen. Earnhardt in first. The crumpled car number 15 riding just behind him, still trying to make up a lap.
Earnhardt would go on to start 10th and finished 8th while leading 10 laps in the 79 Daytona 500. 1980 was a little bit different. He would have to start all the way back in 32nd but would end up finishing 4th. In 1981, he would start 7th but would finish 5th. Osterlund and Earnhardt had this place figured out. It seemed like he would get his 500 win in no time, but then the unexpected happened. Osterlund sold the team to Jim Stacy at mid-season's end, and the two loathed each other. Eventually, Earnhardt would leave to go finish off the 1981 season driving for Richard Childress. We'll get back to him in a minute, but in the meantime, Earnhardt would drive for Bud Moore in 82 and 83. This is where his bad luck in the 500 began, as he would have engine problems in both of those races.
35 laps complete, 165 remaining. There is Earnhardt slowing down dramatically in the back straightaway. I wonder if he's running a fuel. Something's amiss, and it looks like a tire may be going down in the car. Very unstable, and everyone's passing Earnhardt up.
Well, Earnhardt comes to a stop. Not too much panic with the crew. They're checking right side tire. Fuel is going in. There was very little conversation among the crew members as Dale was coming in. The crew members were obviously a little surprised. Dale was in communications with his crew chief, and now the engine is stalled. They are having one heck of a time getting it to refire. The engine is definitely dead. Now it refires. Quick start being sprayed inside the carburetor through the vents on the top of the hoods, and finally it fires off when Earnhardt is back on the racetrack.
Earnhardt expires right in the tri-oval. Big cloud of smoke. He's up against the wall. Caution is on the track, second time. Oh, talk about a moment. The 4th place car, Dale Earnhardt in the Bud Moore Ford. Remember that Bud Moore won this race with Bobby Allison.
Earnhardt would finish 36th in 82 and 35th in 83. 1984 was the final time Earnhardt Sr. would ever switch teams, as Richard Childress would be the final car owner he would drive for the rest of his career. The 1984 500 saw him start all the way back in 29th, but would end up finishing 2nd. This was his first runner-up finish in the Great American Race, and was immediately the favorite heading into 85. Unfortunately, Earnhardt wasn't a factor. He would start 18th but would finish 32nd after being mired with more engine problems. Believe it or not, 86 would actually be a lot worse.
In just a few laps, pole sitter Bill Elliott slipped to 5th place. The pace was over 196 miles per hour with a new leader.
Earnhardt, 1979 Rookie of the Year and 1980 Grand National Champion, out in front trying to win his first 500. He's on a roll. Allison right there, knocking on the door in that second spot for the rejuvenated team for himself.
On lap 25, Earnhardt heads for the pits under green. But as luck would have it, Kirk Bryant spins into the wall on turn 4, bringing out the first yellow flag of the day. After what would be the last short caution of the day, Bodine and Earnhardt were bumper to bumper and pulling away from the field.
There's the move. Down on the inside, Dale Earnhardt going into first place. You can see the smoke rolling out that right rear.
With 41 laps left in the 1986 Daytona 500, first Bodine, then Earnhardt make green flag pit stops, what they hope will be their last.
There he goes, 18.52 seconds, and Earnhardt really looks like he's excited for this finish.
Bodine held the lead, Earnhardt held on to the draft, hoping to slingshot into first somewhere on the last lap. On lap 197, that strategy changed the race when Dale Earnhardt was forced to pit for fuel.
This is going to cost Dale Earnhardt the race. He's overshot his pitch. They have to pull the car back. Underneath the rules. He just needs a couple of quarts. He's got on his way, and it looks like Mr. Bodine is going to be the beneficiary.
Oh my gosh, talk about more bad luck. He would start 4th and would end up finishing 14th. 1987 was another good 500 for Earnhardt, but not good enough to win. He would start 13th, but wound up finishing 5th. The 1988 500 was an historic one, as it would be the first time Senior would drive that historic black paint scheme. Despite running up front, issues had mounted once again.
As they approached the finish, mechanical difficulties struck two of the front-runners.
So once again, the effort by Earnhardt to turn it around and win this race will come up short.
Earnhardt would start 6th and would finish 10th. Unlike the ones in years past, 1989 would have problems right off the bat.
Though he never won a race as a driver, Richard Childress has won championships and millions of dollars as a car owner, but now your car has a problem, Richard. What's wrong with Dale Earnhardt?
Well, he says whenever he pulls out to go around a car or something, said it starts to flutter like it's pulling the air away from the carburetor, so we don't know if it's something in the air filter or carburetor or what. We've had this little flutter and he just won't get out of it. We're going to work on it next bit.
No sign of it earlier in the week, no idea how to fix it?
No, we don't have no ideas right now. We're going to try some stuff on the first stop.
Earnhardt's stuck out there until the next pit stop.
Although they got these issues fixed early on in the race, it would still not be enough to win. Earnhardt would start 8th, but would finish 3rd. 1990 was looking like it was for sure going to be his this time. Not only was he starting on the front row, he also led 155 laps. That is his career high in the Daytona 500. He had the most dominant car all day, but a late race caution brought the field back together. He was going back and forth with second place runner Derek Cope and would take back the lead with 3 to go. At this point, it was basically a battle for second place. Nobody was stopping Earnhardt on that day.
This is the half a lap to go.
4-car shootout to decide it all. Dale Earnhardt.
Here comes Cope down on the inside. Earnhardt has problems.
Slopping back. Something is amiss. Here comes the field driving for the finish. And on the outside, it is car number 10, Derek Cope. Something amiss on the Earnhardt car. Coming to the line. It's Labonte pulling up and an amazing finish. The Whitcomb Racing Team has won it.
Unbelievable.
Except Lady Luck herself, as he would cut a tire on the last lap.
Dale, what the heck happened on the last lap?
We run over some debris and cut a right rear tire down, David. Just a quarter of a lap away from victory. Not much you could do about it.
I was sitting with your wife, and it was absolute devastation in your motorhome. We're all real sorry for you.
1990 was the most devastating loss of them all. Despite the cut tire, he would still post a top 5 finish. 1991 would include another bizarre sequence of events in the beginning of the race.
We may be able to see what happened to Earnhardt out here.
Yeah, you can see right there. The bird flew right into the left corner of his Chevrolet. I don't believe, Ken, that there's enough covered the air intake area that it would affect it too much.
Oh, but it did. He would have to come in for repairs and would recover, scoring another top 5 finish after starting 4th. Earnhardt was basically a non-factor in 1992. He would start 3rd but would finish 9th. 1993 is known as the Dale and Dale show, but one of those Dales was dominant all day long. Earnhardt led a race high 107 laps, but would be passed on the final lap by Dale Jarrett.
It's the Dale and Dale show as we come off of turn 4. You know who I'm pulling for. It's Dale Jarrett. Bring her to the inside, Dale. Don't let him get down there. He's going to make it. Dale Jarrett's going to win the Daytona 500. All right.
For the second time in his 500 career, Earnhardt was passed while leading on the final lap. Not to mention, this was his second runner-up finish in the Great American Race after starting 4th. 1994 was a tragic speed weeks as Dale Sr.'s best friend Neil Bonnet would tragically pass away during a practice session for the Daytona 500. This was a lot to deal with on its own, but despite the tragedy, many still felt that Earnhardt Sr. was a favorite for the 1994 Daytona 500. He would ultimately start on the front row, leading 45 laps, but unfortunately would end up finishing 7th. 1995 would see a bit of the same, as he would start on the front row for the second season in a row. Earnhardt would finish runner-up in the Daytona 500 for the third time. 1996 would be Dale Sr.'s first Daytona 500 pole. Earnhardt had the lead towards the end, but with 23 laps to go, Dale Jarrett got the best of him for the second time.
Here it is, the Dale and Dale show once again here at Daytona. Earnhardt trying to make a move. Look at him switch back and forth. Jarrett blocks him one more time. Here comes Earnhardt to the inside, but he can't make the move. And the Chevrolets race each other back there. Jarrett hanging on down on the inside. Come on, Dale. Put it in the middle, buddy. Do all you can. Winning 2 Daytona 500s would be too much. Here he comes to the line, and Dale Jarrett is going to pull it off at Daytona, his second Daytona 500 win. Wow. Man, it was almost as good as it was the first time.
For the fourth time and the second year in a row in his illustrious career, Dale Sr. would finish runner-up in the 500. Earnhardt would start fourth for the 1997 Daytona 500 and would lead a race total of 7 laps early on. With less than 15 to go, Earnhardt was sitting right there in second. What soon followed was his worst 500 accident up to this point, followed by his Warrior's heart.
Here goes a pass. Gordon making a move on the inside of Earnhardt. Oh, Jarrett's loose.
Down the back straightaway. Big trouble. Earnhardt out. Up and over number 3. And for the 19th time, Lady Luck deals a bad hand. You're in the pits. Car number 3, Earnhardt, and Dick Berggren is there.
What a pile of grit. Earnhardt is in the car. He's barking instructions to the crew. They're trying to tape the left rear fender on. It's barely hanging on. They're taping the hood on. The roll cage has been sandpaper. NASCAR apparently has declared he must have a spoiler, so they're going to now try to get the back deck on the car. There's nothing mechanical holding it on. They're going to have to tape it on. This thing is so beat up. If Earnhardt can make 1 lap or 2, it's an absolute miracle.
Despite the flip, Earnhardt and his crew got the car fixed enough to finish the race, as he would finish in 31st. And now to the year we've all been waiting for, 1998. For 19 straight years, Earnhardt has had nothing but bad luck in the Daytona 500, but heading into his 20th attempt, there was a silver lining. The day before the race, he would meet up with a kid from the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
The little girl gave me a penny and said, "You're going to win the Daytona 500. This is your good luck penny." But it's stuck on the dash. Won the Daytona 500. Yep. Good luck from her. Thank God for angels, and I think she's our angel here.
Earnhardt would go on to qualify 4th and lead 107 laps. And on February 15th, 1998, Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s legacy was complete forever.
There's trouble coming off of turn 2. Some cars get strangled. It might be this. Whoever gets back to the start-finish line, they'll get the white and the yellow together.
Blake Speed and John Andretti tangle as the leaders head for turn number 3. Andretti and Spencer got together.
This could be the Daytona 500. Bobby Labonte goes to the outside.
Labonte up high. Earnhardt uses the lap car of Rick Bass as a pick. 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500. Finally, the most anticipated moment in racing. Every man on every crew has come out to the edge of pit lane to congratulate the man who has dominated everything there is to win in this sport, except this race, until today.
After 20 years of trying, Dale Earnhardt Sr. would finally win that long-awaited Daytona 500. And once again, that'll do it for another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.